Today, we're going to be talking about why vertical content is changing photography, something right here that I've been working on a lot. First off, my name's Evan Olbricht. I'm a professional surf and lifestyle photographer here in San Diego. I've been shooting photography for around 9 years now, which is pretty crazy to say, but this is going to be an awesome video. Something I've been working pretty hard on is that vertical content, that short form content, all of that with different things, GoPro, phone, R5, all of these things kind of combine. And I've really changed the world of photography by using vertical content and social media. And the first thing I want to talk about is really that switch to that mobile and that vertical first mindset when shooting. And this is so important because I recently just edited some photos and some videos. First off, from photography, I always shoot horizontal. That's just my style, but I've really been trying to push that vertical. And that's been so interesting to me and so unique to see how that performs, how people actually like them better than a lot of horizontal photos, but then also just switching it up, seeing what works better, seeing what actually performs the best, just testing new things that I like to test, and also seeing what my audience likes the best. So it's really crazy to see this switch though, because for videos now, I mean, you can't even really post horizontal unless it's long form content on YouTube like this, or else it's gonna do horrible. If you post horizontal videos, which if you do that on a reel or anything like that, you're gonna get barely any views. And I know there's some trends where it's like a super small line, things like that, which are pretty fun. But really, if you wanna stand out in social media, you have to switch to that mobile and to that vertical first mindset. And right here, I have a stat that over 80% of social media usage happens on the phones, and vertical fills that screen. When you're scrolling, you want to have that biggest part of the screen as you can, and that's really through Reels and vertical photos. And platforms like Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Stories are all built for vertical now. And actually one thing that Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, are coming out with is that every time that you open the app, it will actually start on Reels now. So huge shift right there, but something to think about when you're making content, because that is how people are consuming content nowadays. And it looks like it's only moving further in that direction. And their algorithms promote content that feels native to mobile, which is vertical content. And even those big brands have fully shifted over now. So really, it's left for those content creators and photographers to really take that lead and switch over fully, but not just switch over and make okay vertical content, but really say, hey, we're gonna redefine how we make vertical content. So first off, how do we do this? Through composition changes. So vertical versus horizontal, there is a lot of composition changes in that. Like if I film this vertical, I would not have me sitting here, or else it would be a really weird thin screen where I would probably be backing up. I would change the background, change the lighting a little bit. So really when you're filming this, there's a lot to think about in just how it's gonna look when you post it. That's something that I do with photography and then also videos before I post is when I'm actually taking the content, I think, okay, how is this gonna look in vertical? Try to shoot it vertical, see how it looks, adjust from there, shoot it horizontal as well. And just really trying to learn the different things where, hey, there's still, the different rules of thirds, the different rules that different people use where there's leading lines through this and different things like that. Those still apply, but just in a different way in that vertical mindset. So looking that up, trying to learn that, and really, I've learned that just by shooting as much as possible. So something that you can do is just shooting as much as possible, seeing what other people are doing to adapt to this vertical mindset and trying to adapt to it in the best way possible. And in vertical, you can really emphasize that height, lines, and then also isolation of the subject. That's something that I've been really liking in surf photography, is doing more zoomed out photos and just having basically one person in the middle and having it more zoomed out like this photo right here. So, and negative space is also very important. Having that symmetry, isolation, and these affect vertical more strongly because if there's too much to the sides, it really kills the photo because of how it's tilted. Just like a horizontal, if there was a bunch of stuff above me, it would be super tight and compressed. Where that's why I have it more stuff on the side so that it makes me the subject instead of there being something on top of me. I don't even know, it could be anything, but really it could change how your photos look and how your videos look. So something definitely to think about. The second part is how does that gear change when you're shooting vertically as well? So you can shoot vertically on your phone, or any camera as well. Mirrorless, DSLR, you just flip the orientation in there so you're shooting like that, or having your phone. And I think that one thing is the phone is so underestimated still. Like I've seen people shoot phone content just setting it to 4K and all these crazy settings now, and they're shooting it for huge brands and you can't tell the difference. It's so much easier to edit, so much easier to post. So that's something to think about as well, is it actually makes it really easy to shoot it now having this. And this is something that I have right here. I have this little tripod. Boom, you just put your phone in right here and so easy to film. Just having this on my desk. This is how I film most of my reels, is by having it on here. So there are a lot of things that you can use nowadays that make it so much easier and so much cheaper than having a $5,000 camera and lens on your desk that you have to do all this crazy stuff with. You have all these lenses, all these microphones, like so much that goes into it, when really your phone is the key to unlocking vertical content as well. So definitely something to think about, but also using other tools, gimbals, tripods with vertical mounts, and cages that support that portrait orientation to really avoid that shaky footage as well. Also, one thing to think about as someone who works at a marketing agency is leaving room for UI, UX, text overlays, and don't let your subject brush too close to the top or the bottom. Also knowing how Instagram works with having the like button, the comment button, not blocking those with your content as well. All of that is so important when you're taking vertical content into account. And if you've already shoot horizontal, you can actually reframe it vertically in editing in Final Cut Pro or anything that you use. That's what I usually do, because it just makes it so much easier if I'm shooting horizontally already. And that's what I do with my GoPro when it's on my housing. I just have it horizontal so I can make YouTube videos like this with it. And then I can also edit it into that vertical mode without only shooting vertical. So something else to think about as well. And a few tips for how to really get the most out of your content. So someone who works at a marketing agency, like I said before, there's a big difference in this new shift. And when you're posting on Reels, TikTok, all this stuff, how do videos actually perform well? And I made kind of a list here. So vertical works best when it's snappy and fast. You don't have long to capture attention, and the first 2 to 3 seconds really need to hook in the viewer. So shared visuals, striking motion, or intrigue all help. Asking questions, having a crazy thing happen at first, and then kind of going back and telling the story of how that happened. Zooming in really fast, zooming out on these subjects. There are so many things that you can do. The biggest thing that I learned from this is just looking at what's working and how I can adapt that into my own content has been the key for learning that. And vertical is really intimate as well, so leaning into closer framing, dynamic cuts, zoom in, zoom out, transitions that feel fluid, and don't be afraid to be bold with editing, because with short form content, that's what usually performs the best, is when someone has this crazy unique editing style and it just blows up, gets like millions of views, and people are like, oh my gosh, like this is a crazy editing style. And like, they don't even really care about the video, but it's really the editing as well. So really leaning into that and seeing what you can do is really the key to being the best in that. And in a mobile scroll environment, quick edits, text overlays, sound, and pacing all really help with that viewer retention. And if your content drags, people will leave. Like that's one of the things is when you're like scrolling on TikTok and all this stuff, if you don't like a video, you're just scrolling like fast. So it's not even like, oh, like I'm gonna watch this video for 3 seconds. You might watch it for a second and then scroll right away. So you really need to focus on those first few seconds for that hook. Even if it's just a video for fun, you still wanna obviously have the videos perform the best that you can. So always thinking about that when you're shooting and when you're editing as well. And last thing is using trending music, jump cuts, different props, and then motion graphics. So a lot of things here to think about. So important, really just testing this and doing it as much as possible. One thing that I did for a while that is a great test and I highly recommend everyone doing this does is posting every day for a few months. My thing was posting every day for 100 days. I did that on all my social media channels. It is not as easy as you think, but I would definitely try it because I learned so much on how to make videos, content ideation, things like that, like posting, editing, how to actually engage the viewer. All of this thing is so important and how really helped me in what I've done. So definitely an awesome challenge that I would test out. Last thing is why this actually whole thing matters for short form content. So if you're only shooting horizontal, your audience lives in vertical and you're really gonna miss out in views. And how do you actually get your work out there? Through views, through content nowadays. So if you're gonna just kind of, I don't need it, then you're gonna lose out on basically every view on your work unless you're somehow in this specific niche that's still doing really well with horizontal content. But I will tell you this, is that as someone who is a professional photographer who thinks I take really good photos, I have amazing clients, I've worked with amazing people, done amazing projects, is that when I'm not posting on social media, I'm getting way less clients, way less views, and making way less money. So something to think about is you're just gonna get a lot less views on your stuff if you don't use this. So really leaning into this, and it's been like this for a while now. So actually saying, hey, I'm gonna take my time and learn this as much as I can. I'm gonna take 100 days, I'm gonna take a year, post every day, see what I can do and try to build a following through this. And vertical first content gives you that extra reach, more engagement, and more chances to show off your creative work, your creative vision. And most importantly, it forces you to think differently in what you're doing, and you rethink storytelling, subject placement, and makes you a better visual creator. So that's all I have for the video today. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Let me see what you want to watch next. Share this video with your friends and subscribe for more videos like this. Have a great day.